Seashells she sells by the seashore.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Bitch. Ha. Alright. Hi, welcome to Stop Crying, I'm Talking. Trevor.
I'm Trevor.
Cody.
And this is Cody. Did I catch you off guard there?
Yeah, you did. So, one second, I got shit in my nose now.
So we've
Just snip that shit up in there.
So we've taken a little bit of time off. We're changing things up a bit this week. We're recording this on Monday. Typically we record towards the end of the week and then we post on Mondays, but
we had a busy week.
We're
an eventful week, so
yeah. I mean, I think
from
now on we're just going to record whenever and then just get it out there, as soon as possible.
Yep.
It's not really going to be schedule based anymore, so
got me moving.
Just be on the lookout for us. If you hit that favorite button, you'll get notification about when we post. So
there will be videos.
Do it. We're so next Saturday we'll have the backpacking video. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch and see how that turns out. Didn't record as much as I was hoping, but I mean it's a learning experience.
It was rough. I mean, a lot of hiking and looking at stuff, and you can't just be behind the camera the entire day.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back now, just experience wise, if I could change any different, I would have been way less reluctant to waste battery on the camera. I would have just been all right, I'm gonna shoot this. Who cares if I have 10 minutes left by the last day? It's
we still had an hour and a half of battery left.
It was so bad. We basically had the same amount from the beginning to the end. We still had well over 100 minutes left.
We really preserved that camera too much, but I mean, I took videos on my phone. I think you did too, didn't you?
No, because I had my phone off the entire time. The camera was the only thing I used to take videos, but luckily you recorded some of that last night. That was
that last night. So I guess we can just dive into this.
You want to start from the beginning?
Yeah, the drive up there? I mean, the drive up there was...
Just start with when we first started backpacking.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, we drove up there, stayed the night, camped, and then in the morning, packed up all our gear, got our backpacks set up, stocked, and then drove to the trailhead. It was Iron Mountain, the Centennial Highway trailhead.
We stopped at the Iron Mountain trailhead picnic area. And so this area is called the Black Elk Wilderness, which is in the Black Hills. It's a total of 72 miles of trails if you count all the small little in-between trails also, but it should be a total of 72, I believe.
Sounds about right.
Our plan was to hike between 39 and 40 miles around a big loop around Centennial, then what was it?
Willow Creek,
and then
Lost Cabin, and then down by Sylvan Lake, and then it connects into the
Little Devil's Trail.
Little Devil's Tower Trail. And it goes up, and then you can see the mountains, which gets up into the highest elevation of South Dakota, which I mean still not very high, but close to 1,000.
It felt really high.
Yeah, climbing it was, you felt it, and then it would come down to the very south part of the Black Hills, which was the Norbeck Trail, and then loop back up into the Centennial Trail where we would hike out of the back to the picnic area.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be about 39 miles altogether.
Yeah.
But right away we got on the wrong trail. Not right away.
We started on Iron Mountain Trail, and then we accidentally went on Grizzly Bear Trail instead of staying on Centennial. So that's where we started off wrong. And then we went from Grizzly Bear Trail up to Horse Thief Trail, which connects to Centennial. So we thought we were on the right trail because the sign said Centennial on it, but it was actually Horse Thief going to Centennial.
It was a junction trail.
Yep. So once we reached Centennial, there was a little sign saying go turn right to stay on Centennial, and we're like, oh, Centennial, so this way to stay on Centennial. But we didn't realize that we weren't on Centennial in the first place.
Well, coming up to Grizzly Creek Trail, it's the start of that trail where we entered. There is no sign. It's technically an unlabeled trail from that point.
Right.
So we thought it was the Centennial because the next sign we saw was junction to Centennial, and we didn't think about it actually being labeled as a junction trail and not being that exact trail. So walked up, and we started early. We started at like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we're getting around this, it's about, what did you say, like noon? 1?
When we got back, or?
No, to like kind of realizing that we were on the wrong
I think
trail.
we hit Rushmore around 1 or 2 o'clock. Was
Yeah.
kind of when we were a little weary. Like, we looked at the map and we're like, our mindset was basically, okay, we're either not going nearly as fast as we think we are, or we are going in the wrong direction. I think in the moment we were in denial and we were just really hoping we were going in the right direction.
Yep. And then it was like, at that time, I kind of looked up at the sun, and then I was like, we're headed south, not north, which we were wanting to go northwest. And
Yep.
I was like, we're headed south. And then Trevor's like, pull out my compass. So, pull out the compass, and we were headed dead south.
Yep.
And I was like,
Pretty
well,
sure we're headed the wrong
son of a
way.
nutcracker.
And then we kept telling we kept telling ourselves, okay, maybe this is one of those loops where it'll come back around and go back north eventually.
We were in denial.
It didn't go north.
Mad denial. Just shooting ourselves in the fucking dicks.
Yeah, it was really bad. So eventually we made it back to the trailhead of Grizzly Bear Creek, right where we started.
Where we started.
So in a span of
About 7 hours.
7 to 8 hours, we made it a total of 2.3 miles. I think was the conclusion we came to.
Yep, 2.3 miles in
So-
7 hours. So that put us right at about 3 o'clock, and throughout this day, I pushed us really hard. We took how many did we take? What, 1 minute?
So we took
One break
the
in that
first break we took was for lunch. We didn't take any breaks between start and lunch. We took like 1.5 hour break for lunch.
For lunch, and just ate right at noon.
And then after that, I think we took 1 15-minute break when we made it to that one mountain where the Mount Rushmore was. Like, we kind of took some pictures and videos and stuff.
Yep.
And then I think we'll count this as a break, but we stopped for, I don't know, 15 minutes to half an hour. I wasn't really counting, but the part at 3 p.m. when we found out we were lost.
We stopped for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we got there at 3 and then continued to walk to took off at 3:15 after knowing exactly which trail we were on, looking at the map and
then
plotting our course from then on of what we wanted to do instead of the full loop, since we set ourselves back so far day one.
Yeah, because at that point it was, I mean, it was really hard to choose what to do, because it was either just go back, and it was only 2.5 miles away, and it's like, we don't want to only hike, 2.5 miles left. Like, we want to get something out of this.
Well, technically we walked, it was about 15 miles.
But it's like, what were we gonna
5:30.
do from that point? It's like, we basically did the only thing we really should have done. So we go on Grizzly Bear Trail, which wasn't really that bad at all. Grizzly Bear Trail's fine.
It's kind of like a meadow.
Yeah, it's when you get on Grizzly Bear Creek, that's where
It's when it cuts up, like Grizzly Bear Trail to start off. It just goes straight north, and then once it gets to the second half of Grizzly Bear Creek Trail, it goes northwest, and then it is up, just cruising up a fucking mountain.
You're just going up.
You're getting that
mountain
altitude.
I don't know what the total time would be, but because we stopped halfway through and camped that night on Grizzly Bear Creek Trail, so I would say from the time we started the previous evening to the time that it took us to finish, because I think it only took us like a half an hour to an hour to finish it the next morning to get to the top.
Yeah, about that. about 45 minutes, I'd guess. Well, it was 3.5 miles of pure uphill climbing.
Yeah.
And like, not like semi-sleep, like it was like steps that you're taking, just plowing.
You would have a moment of going flat, and you'd have a glimmer of hope, and then you'd look ahead, and it would just be straight uphill again. Cody heard me here so many times. God damn it, this thing just keeps going up.
You were like, oh, look at this flat ground. I'm like, Trevor, you're going to fucking hate this as soon as you get 4 steps up here, because guess what it is again? Because straight uphill, baby.
Yeah, 90% of the time, Cody was ahead of me, so seriously, the whole time, I don't think I ever told you this, but the whole time we were walking, like, in the back of my mind, I was really hoping you would tell me, dude, I see a sign, or I see something. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm just waiting to hear you to like give me some hope that we're finally out of here.
Well, after about that 15 to 20 mile range, you really started to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not used to that kind of beat up because I spend too much time in an office. I mean, I go for runs, but it's like
it's totally different on your body than what you are used to.
Walking long distances with a heavy pack is just
about 40 to 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Not the heaviest, but average size for backpacking.
It builds on you. It builds. And made me realize I need to hike more to prepare for this kind of stuff, or at least go on stairs, because it was just you
had about 6 mental breakdowns where it was purely yelling at me and saying
I wouldn't say purely yelling, but
all right, fine.
I cursed you out a little bit.
A little bit. You call me a lunatic cunt, a mad cunt, an absolute madman.
Okay.
You said I care about nothing.
Okay. I'm gonna give you. I care about nothing.
You said you care about.
Okay.
Right, you said I care about nothing.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
No regards to life.
I'm gonna put some clarification on that. So, mad cunt is an Australian term, which basically means like wild man, which is basically me calling you an absolute unit. It's more of a compliment than an insult.
Something like that. I like it. I liked it though.
I mean, I'm just saying, I wasn't like straight up like hating on you. It was more of a you are absolutely insane.
What didn't help is I had the giggles the entire time.
Oh yeah,
so he's yelling at me and like complaining, and I'm just like just the entire.
You kept telling me, you're like, this isn't a laughter of like humor. This is a laughter. This is like a laughter of suffering.
And I just couldn't stop. It was like just like 4 hours of nonstop giggling in my part. And it was fantastic. But yeah, we hiked 20 miles that first day, which was a Tuesday. And by like that last probably 2.5 miles was pure uphill. And we ended up finding like a spot between this rock and tree where
perfect spot. Literally like could not find a spot like that anywhere else.
Fit perfectly, a little hole in the ground so we can sit and stretch our legs out, and it was a
blessing.
Yep. Got that. I hiked back down to a point, get water, refill that.
Yeah, I told Cody, I'm like, I'm putting you on water duty for putting us through this, and he's like, fair enough.
That's fair. And then got back, made food, and then passed out I think I passed out like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I passed out, and then I'd wake up at like a little before 11, and then I'd pass back out. It was just a really weird sleep. I think it was because I was at a slight slant. Yeah. And I was just worried.
It's weird. You gotta sleep, but if you sleep with your head uphill, it's easier. Mm-hmm. But if you sleep with it downhill, I noticed like I did that one year, and I woke up like smashed up against the bottom of my tent, like with my face.
I was worried about that. I was worried about pushing against my tent too much and like accidentally causing a tear or something. So I was just like, I kept trying to.
Your tent was tight. His was like
for a big guy like me, it's
shoulder size, like barely fitted. Or like it was like a glove.
Yeah, but it worked. I mean,
yeah,
I slept fine when I did sleep. So,
but wake up the next day, and
very slow start.
Very like
compared to the first day.
Woke up, packed our stuff. My heels had some blisters on them, but it was good. My legs didn't hurt or anything. You were sore.
Yeah, the balls of my feet were starting to get some nasty blisters on them, and then I don't know what it was. It was just like my feet, my ankles, like it felt like all the pressure on them was building up just hit me all in the morning.
Yep.
It's like I could still walk. Like I still
Just heard you nag like an old lady the entire morning.
All right. But yeah, it was like every single step was just pain.
So we take off and we had just straight uphill right away in the morning, which was about 45 minutes to an hour. And cruise by, then we get up to like the Little Devil's Trail, which just hikes around some nice raspberry bushes, just life of luxury as soon as we get up there. And it's still uphill a little bit, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. For me, anyways.
Yeah, I think once we hit the top and once I started seeing other people, that's where it really turned around for me. Like just
he got pep in his step. He was cheery again.
Yeah,
he wasn't cussing me out anymore.
We
were friends again.
It was, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was some sort of separation anxiety. I'm like, this guy who's been laughing at me for the past 24 hours.
And so as soon as we get to the top, it's splits into where you can go north more and go to Harney Peak, which as soon as you get to the top of Harney Peak, it is legitimately the highest peak in South Dakota. And so I took my pack off and left it with Trevor, and he sat down.
I volunteered. I was nice enough to stay and watch.
Yeah, he didn't leave my pack. I don't know who would want to steal that because they would have to carry it all the way back down. And most people were like, "Oh wow, you guys are crazy! You guys are hiking this trail with backpacks on." They're like, "We're exhausted. We've only hiked 2 miles." I'm like, "You have no idea."
Yeah, that day at that split, we met a couple who was up there, and they were asking us what we were doing, and we told them, "Oh, we just hiked Grizzly Bear Trail and Grizzly Bear Creek," and they were like, "Oh, that's a bitch." I'm like, yeah. All right, yeah, we know firsthand.
They're like, "You guys actually found somewhere to sleep?" I'm like, "Barely." They're like, "Yeah, I guess we found like the only spot where it's good to set up tents." And I was like, "Lucky you."
Seriously.
And so, but as soon as we hit to the break-off point, I wanted to run up to Harney Peak because I heard it was pretty cool. I've never seen it before, so I left my pack. And then Trevor's like, "You got like an hour." So I took off running with just my water bottle and my phone in my pocket so I could take pictures, and if I got thirsty,
because I didn't want to waste time. I wanted to, get to the next place.
Yep. So with like the energy I had, and first thing in the morning, I ran up the Harney Peak, which most people looked at me like I was a madman because they were taking their time, like sweating their balls off, climbing up this peak. And I get up there in, I don't know, about 10 minutes. And there's like, as soon as you get to the top, then it becomes like actual stairs. And then goes up, and it's kind of like a watchtower or like a guard tower or whatever for fire watcher. I don't know what they would use it for.
I have no
But
idea.
as soon as you climb up there, it's a 360 view of basically the entire wilderness. And then plus you can see outside of it, like you can see like the spots where the cities are. Just like the tiny towns around the Black Hills. But it was beautiful. And did that, took my pictures, took my drink of water, and then I ran back down. And I did. It was like 0.3 miles up there, and then same thing back down. So a little over half a mile plus the extras. So a little under a mile. I got back in 20 minutes. 25. It
was around 25 minutes.
Yeah, about 25 minutes. And I put packs back on while Trevor took the break the entire time, and then we started walking again.
I was studying the map so we don't get lost again.
Fair enough. It was good.
And what ended up happening?
Well, not quite yet. We didn't get lost just then.
No, yeah, but I'm just foreshadowing here.
We did get lost again. Well, we didn't get lost. We just hit the wrong trail because again, they are unlabeled trails.
Yeah.
It's painful.
I'll talk about what I would do different next time, but let's just continue with the story.
Yeah. So, hike back down, make it to Sylvan Lake. And that was about noon.
Yep, right around noon.
A little after.
We were there
about 12:30.
Yeah.
Rolled around 12:30, and then
Before 1.
Did like a 45-minute break. Ate.
Dipped our toes because my feet were hurting bad.
You did. I just laid down on a rock and called it good. And ate, took off, and then there's like tourists everywhere, so we just look like crazy people that just smell like dank ass. And hit the trails again on like basically on the other side of the parking lot of Sylvan Lake. And then basically it goes back up the mountain.
Yep.
And so it's just nonstop weaving up this mountain. And there's like the trail map that are like posted up and it just says follow the blue.
So before we got on this trail, when you go through, you leave Sylvan Lake and there's a little trail and it goes about, I'd say 0.4, maybe half a mile, and then you hit this little trail open, like parking lot where people can park, so that they can just, instead of going from Sylvan Lake all the way up to Black Elk Peak, you can just park at this spot and then just go straight on the trail and hike up to Black Elk Peak.
Yeah.
So just a little.
And so like there's a giant poster board next to the trail of like our labeled trail where we want to go, and that's highlighted blue, and then it says there's blue marking. So along this trail there's blue arrows that point you exactly on the labeled trail. So we thought.
Yep.
So
we just followed the blue.
We follow the blue arrows just like what the map showed, and we get up to this peak and we climb up this rock, and it's like legitimate climbing.
Nobody asked us
and
if
going
we were
up.
Nobody asked us if we were going in the right direction. We never thought to ask, hey, is this the right way to Norbeck?
And we were looking at these people, and they were struggle climbing up this.
Nobody else had
rock.
heavy packs on. Like, some people had, like, day packs on, but nobody had backpacking packs on.
Like hiking backpacks.
Yeah.
And we were the only ones, and we climbed this rock, and Trevor was dying. I carried your pack for a short time.
For some reason, I think I ate too much or
just
ate
had like
too
heat
fast.
stroke, like a brief flash.
Like, I was
menopause.
trying to drink water like crazy, but I think it was too late. My stomach was absolutely killing me. I would walk 10 minutes, and then it's like I'd have to just stand there for at least a couple minutes, like just to get back to walking.
Had little tiny bugs flying in our face and
us. Yeah, that's where Cody drew the line. He was like, dude, we gotta keep moving. So he carried my pack for me. So Cody was, what do you call it?
I had a backpack on mine on the front, and then his on the front.
Yeah, he front loaded my pack and then had his pack on his back, and I was just like walking behind him. I was still struggling to keep up. Like, I felt so pathetic, but I was so grateful at the same time. Cody's like, Trevor, just tell me I'm a beast. Just tell me I'm a beast. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking beast. And so.
I couldn't climb the mountain with both of them.
Yeah, we hit the point. We hit the point where we actually start climbing, and Cody's like, Trevor, I don't think I'm gonna be able to carry your pack through this. I'm like, dude, it's cool. I'll take it now. We get all the way up to the peak, not knowing it's the peak.
It's just a peak. It's a lookout point. It's a fucking lookout point.
Yeah. Through it's impossible to describe unless you've climbed this trail. Unless you've climbed this. It's impossible to describe. Like, you're literally climbing. You're not walking up a steep trail. You're literally climbing through rocks.
Yeah. And we get up. We didn't even enjoy the point. We just look at each other like, fuck this.
Yeah, like, I was like, at that point, as soon as Cody was like, dude, we're at the peak. We're going to have to turn around. I was like, I quit. Dude, I can't do it anymore.
He just said, I quit. I was like, what do you mean you quit? He's like, no, I legitimately quit. I'm not going any further with you. We're going back and hitchhiking back to the truck. We're like, no.
My body was giving out on me. I was shaking everywhere. Like, the sun had gotten to me. I was almost out of water. My biggest concern was I was almost out of water. And on the map, it showed there was a creek. But we didn't really know how far that creek was. Like, if it was like bear trail, grizzly bear trail, where there's a creek like every 0.2 miles or something.
Yeah, it was close.
I would have probably been fine. But knowing that it's friggin' mid-80s, sun is out, no clouds, and it's, on
top of the mountain, we don't have much coverage for shade.
Again, I'm running very low on water. I'm just trying to play it safe. I'm just thinking, dude, we gotta go back. Like, we gotta call it. Like, let's just... I mean, we've hiked so far. We got to call it good. And Cody, the madman that he is.
So we climb back down this, and it's time to, like, either you take a left and go to the Norbeck Trail to hike back and camp somewhere on there that night, and then finish off the hike on Thursday. Or we could go back and hike to the parking lot and hitchhike back home and call it done on day 2 at about 3:30.
Yep.
At that time.
Yep.
And I was about 8 miles. 7-8 miles in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor he's a no-go.
I was finished.
On hiking any further. He said if I hike another necessary mile, I'm just going to lay down and die.
Seriously, dude.
and we were like arguing in front of other people. And then they were like just hurrying past us. And I was like, dude, just come on.
Right?
Like, I will carry you. And yeah, it wasn't.
I try really hard not to be a quitter. But in this moment, I felt like my very health was at stake here. So
yeah, he had no mental ability left in him. Physically, he was shot. His feet felt like they were bleeding, he said. And, so I took the map and I said, I'm going to make it. If I can, I said, I'm just going to power through and then complete today and tomorrow's hike tonight. And just pure speed hike it and take as many limited breaks as I can and see what I can do. So,
and then I hustled back down to the parking lot area. So I start so I'll tell my part, what happened after that, my half. So after this, I start hiking downhill towards this trail, and for some reason hiking downhill is a little easier for me, so I was practically like
just rolling
slow jogging like down this hill. And all I thought about was like David Goggins, and like I thought about his I remember watching his Moab 200 trailer where he's like running through the desert, and like that's all I was picturing through my mind as I was like slowly jogging down this mountain. And I was halfway down, I ran out of water, so I was just like, you know what, it's probably a good idea for me to go back. I hope Cody's okay.
Nah,
seriously, I get back down. It only took me 20 minutes to get back down to the parking lot, and so I get down to the parking lot. I'm like, I still have no idea if Cody really committed to going down or if he was going to wait for me to turn around and catch up to him. So I waited down. I waited in the parking lot for about half an hour to an hour. And I was like, all right, at this point, I'm pretty positive Cody isn't going to come and try to catch up with me. So I'll try to find a ride. This one guy offered me a ride, but he was like just heading onto the trail. So he's like, I'm just heading onto the trail, so if you're still here when I come back, I'll give you a ride. I'm like, okay, cool. And then this family, a dad, a mom, and their son, just coming off the trail, we talked for a little bit, and I kind of explained to them our situation, and they kind of the mom and dad kind of looked at each other for a second, and they're like, well, I guess we can give you a ride. It's no big deal. I mean. And I was just like, that'd be awesome. Like, I'm like, as long as it's not too much trouble. And they're like, nah, it's fine. We're just fucking around anyways. We don't. Apparently they
just
go
cruising the area.
Like, they go down to that area once a year, and they just go around to random trails and do random stuff down there. So they didn't care. They gave me a ride back to my pickup. They even gave me an ice cold Gatorade. Dude, it was absolute heaven.
That's when he gave the dad a blowy in the front seat. Well, not quite. It wasn't. It was a handy. Sorry. Wrong information.
That's terrible. All right.
But is it worth the Gatorade after being stranded? Probably.
Took the taste out of my mouth. All right. So they dropped me off. It's about 6 or 6:30, and that's when I text Cody, hey, man, I'm back at the pickup. If you want to try to finish out the hike today, I'll wait here as long as it takes you, even if you have to night hike. And cue you.
Oh, so I figured he'd be texting me at some time, so I took my phone on my backpack and turned it on, put it in my pocket, and it happened probably like 30 minutes, 45 an hour.
It'd be about 2 hours. No.
After you texted me.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
I got reception and my phone dinged, so I looked at it. And he's like, I'm going to wait here and see if you night hike. And I was making pretty good time. So that was about 4 hours. 4 hours after we left each other. No, about 3 hours.
Okay.
About 3 hours, and I'd covered a good amount of ground. Probably 6 to 8 miles. I covered in 3 hours. And it was probably getting dark in about an hour and a half. It was about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And so I knew I had to start really pushing it. And I took the entire day, I took 4 breaks. I took one, like 4.5 minute breaks, which was my longest one. Took a 30-second break, which was the most refreshing one, actually. It was just my legs, it was after a lot of miles. My legs started buckling up and couldn't really feel my feet. They were just kind of going numb and my hips were hurting. So I was like, all right, 30 seconds. That's all I'm giving myself. Sat down, slapped my legs around, yelled at myself a little bit, called myself some insulting names, got jacked up, hands shaking, stood up and just bolted out of there. And
how many times did you think I was right?
What?
How many times did you think to yourself, Trevor was right, we should have went back?
Never.
Oh, whatever.
No, just once. Once I did. I'll get to that point where I did think you were right that we should have.
All right, I'll shut up now.
Turned around. It was late though. It was way beyond. It was way later than a normal person would have thought to turn back. And so after the 30-second one, I took a 45-second break, and then I took a minute break as well. Just like probably 45 minutes before I got off the trail because I called Trevor. But after that, I pushed on. And so from when I left Trevor until I got back to the vehicle, I put in 20 miles from 3:30 to 11:30 p.m. So it was about 2.5 hours of night hiking, which from what anybody says, it's super hard and never do it. And I did it for 2.5 hours, and I agree, never do it is the hardest shit you'll ever do. All I had was a headlamp on, and I heard animal noises, and can't see shit. Trails are little, like they're probably like this wide, and so when you're staying on them, and then it'll come to like a crossing or something like that, or rocks will be in the way, and as soon as you hit rocks, you lose the trail. Lose that trail instantly as soon as you come to one of those points. My headlight was bright, but like I could see, I don't know, 10 feet or so in front of me clearly. So like when I would come to rocks, to anything, I would lose the trail. So I would have to walk into a big circle and see where the trail would continue, which took a lot of extra time. Plus I was getting tired. And after leaving Trevor, it took me like 45 minutes to find water, which I was getting really thirsty. And I just wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to sleep in the dark for another night. Good thing I didn't too, because the thunderstorms that night, probably for like the last 30 minutes of my hike, it was pouring rain on me. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That added to it. But I got back to like pretty much the home stretch at about 8:30 p.m. And so I set off on this trail, and it was dark by then. So like right away, as soon as it started getting dark, I hit the trail, lost the trail, took the wrong one. And in the pitch blackness with just my headlight, I hiked. It was a 1.5 mile trail till I got to the end and realized it was the wrong trail. And then it was on a utility road. So I looked at the map, and the map showed that the utility road connected to the right trailhead of the parking lot of where we went. So I thought if I just hiked on the utility road, which was flat, it would be a lot easier, which it was, and it would just take me to the parking lot of where Trevor was at, which I hiked. It was about a mile, and then it came to a dead end, which did not show a dead end on the map. Say a dead end, it showed a through road. I even checked it on Google Maps on my phone. It was a through road, and it came just to another trailhead that was not leading in the direction I wanted to go. So I had to hike back a mile on this utility road to hit the trail I just came off of, to backtrack and see if I missed my exit on that trail in the pitch darkness. And I had no reception on the utility road to call Trevor. So hike back, which already I've covered like 3 miles roughly in the dark of basically being lost. And so I hit this trail again, and then about halfway through the trail I get reception, call Trevor. He's like, "Are you alive? Are you like, where are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on Iron Mountain Trail somewhere," which was the home stretch. And so
I had the compass.
Yep, he had the compass.
But you had a compass on your phone.
Yeah, I had a compass on my phone, so I knew where I was going and what direction I was headed in. Plus, like, I was good at like looking and knowing like that's north and south. It was pretty basic out there, even though like, but it like in the pitch darkness, without if the trees were covering the moon, that's when it would get like really hard to know exactly which direction I was facing.
Right.
But finally made it back, and then found the trailhead of where I missed originally, which was an additional 1.5 miles away that I hiked, and hit this trail, made it back at 11:15, 11:20, and then I told Trevor to meet me somewhere else in case we get separated, and then I hiked and finally found it, and I was like, "Wait, no, Trevor, hold your fucking horses, turn around, you better pull out into this parking lot, because I'm so ready to hop in that truck." And
yeah, because there was a one of those site areas where you could park in. It's just a sightseeing area, and the way Cody was talking made it sound like he was going to end up there. So I started to head over there, which was about half a mile away. So I started driving away. Me and Cody are still on the phone at the time, and Cody's like, "Wait, no, Trevor, I see a sign. Hold up." And he looks at the billboard. He's like, "Crap! It's not telling me anything. Oh, wait a second." And then you kept walking. Then all of a sudden you were like, "Dude, I'm at the parking lot. I'm at the place where we parked." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me, dude."
I was out of water for like the last hour of my hike, so I was super thirsty. I was like, "Get those bottles of water ready." And so like hopped in. It was pouring rain.
I pulled up to you and I said, "Need a ride, stranger?" And you're like, "Dude, I could kiss you on the mouth right now."
Exact words. And I would have too. And I hopped in, chugged two bottles of water, and then he's like, I'm like, "Have you eaten yet?" He's like, "Not since lunch." I'm like, "I haven't eaten since lunch either." And he's like, "You want to get pizza?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to get pizza." And so, dude, as soon as I sat down, it was like my first chance I've given myself to like take a break longer than a minute in 5 hours. And so like my legs just instantly just went dead.
Looked like
my back was cramping from carrying the backpack nonstop. My shoulder blades were super tight. It just felt like I got ran over, hit by a car.
You look like somebody who just finished a marathon. Like when we stopped at a pizza place that was open till midnight, we went inside and I was like, "Can we order to go?" And she was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome," because they were just about to close, so they don't want somebody to sit in there.
Yeah,
so,
especially us. I smelled.
Yeah,
terrible.
we smelled so bad.
My shirt was like just dripping sweat, plus I just got rained on and
I
wet dog.
Yeah, we ordered pizza and we sat outside. Cody's just like slumped in his chair, like he had just finished a marathon. And he's just absolutely drained, and I'm just like, I'm limping around wearing my sandals because the bottom of my feet are still killing me.
I never took my shoes off that entire day. I hiked for 14 hours straight, and yeah, I felt every minute of it that next day.
So then we got our pizza. We went back. We got a hotel for 2 nights because we were like,
we just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, we seriously just wanted to take the next day off. We just wanted to take it easy for a couple days instead of driving for 7 hours or 8 hours the next day. So we stayed at a hotel. That night, we're just like limping everywhere. We just wanted to get inside our hotel,
I crawled
eat
into
our
the hotel.
pizza.
I literally crawled.
Cody
into the
Cody
hotel
goes
room.
upstairs, and he has his stuff right beside him. He's like, "Here, can you take my stuff? I'm just gonna crawl."
I didn't want to stand back up, so
so I opened the door for him, and he literally is pushing his pizza and crawling inside the hotel room. He's like, "I'm gonna take the first shower." I'm like, "Go for it, dude. You deserve
best shower
it."
of my life.
Oh yeah, and then I took my shower. We had pizza, Pepsi, just the works, and I'd do it again.
Yeah, it was sweet. So in total for mileage, day 1 we did 20 miles together. Day 2 you did 8 miles.
Roughly, yeah.
So you did 28 miles total in 2 days. Day number 2 I did 28 miles, which was a lot. So in total I did 48 miles in 2 days, which I do suggest, but be prepared. Wear the right socks. Get some good shoes. Like if you don't have to carry a backpack, don't. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to
Uphill
go into that.
Is the real struggle. If you were walking 48 miles on straight ground, it would be a game changer. Way easier on flat ground than probably. I'd say like a third of it was all uphill. Would that be? Maybe a quarter.
Yeah, I'd say more like a quarter.
A quarter of it.
A lot more of it was uphill than I would have liked. But I mean,
uphill was way easier for me than going downhill.
So here's the things that I would change. Like now having that experience. Yeah, first of all, if you're going to get shoes or boots or whatever, doesn't matter. Make sure you get them and make sure you go on a test hike.
Make sure they fit.
Because my shoes that I got them 4 or 5 days before we went on our hike.
Yeah.
I wore them for 12 hours a day in the office, and I would walk around in them.
Not enough.
They were comfortable, and it was like, but comparing wearing them in an office where you're sitting most of the time, and then going on attempting a 40-mile hike.
Not good.
Yeah.
Ends badly. Kids.
Also socks.
Badly.
Socks. All I wore were these cotton and one Walmart socks.
They get wet.
They get wet and they stay wet, which is exactly how
dry. Plus sweat.
Exactly how blisters happen. So
it's a breeding ground for
that's where I went wrong. I was foot care when you're hiking, like your feet are the most important thing. Yeah. Foot care. It's number one. Second of all, GPS.
Is a through hike.
Pacific Trail, baby.
Yeah.
Pacific Trail 2020. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
All right. Also, next time,
yeah,
I'm saving up for a freaking GPS.
Satellite phone.
Yeah, satellite phone. And the other thing, snacks. I way overpacked for meals.
And but not bring like any snacks. He brought picky bars, which like
they're great.
They're not granola bars, but they are.
They're great, but they're not really. They're hard to ration because whenever you eat one, you're like, I brought 6, so like 2 per day. And for how long we were hiking, it felt like 2 a day was not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you were smart with the tortillas with the peanut butter or the honey or whatever.
Yeah,
that was smart. And then
nice light meals, light meals all the way. Which also
That's where I went wrong. I shouldn't have eaten a meal for like.
Dude, he loaded up.
I ate a dry meal and then he gave me a
just a Quaker.
He gave me a oatmeal bar. So that's probably where I went wrong because I ate too much for lunch.
I just had fruit snacks, Quaker bars, tortillas I brought Spam.
Yeah, don't worry about eating healthy if you're gonna hike that long. Because I was also trying to think about health wise. I was like, I'll get
a nice salad.
I'll get these dry meals and I'll bring picky bars and I'll bring granola and then I should be set. It's like, nah, wasn't. It's like too many meals, not enough snacks. Because I was assuming 3 meals a day, so I'll bring 3 dry meals per day. So I brought 9 meals with me. Not only did that add more weight, it was just unnecessary because I only ate 3 out of 9 of those the entire time that we hiked.
I did not eat nearly enough either. But like I felt fine the entire trip.
Oh yeah,
until like my legs were
scratch that. Foot care. Actually, foot care is still number one, but hydration is like right there too.
Oh, hydration is
Like,
you don't feel like you need drink, but drink constantly.
yeah, just
Never stop drinking, kids.
seriously, every 5 minutes, just take a sip of water.
Even if it's White Claws, just drink something.
Just drink something.
Something.
Even if it dehydrates you, drink something.
But I feel like we went a little long. But we need to talk about UFC, and then that's just quick speed round of UFC 241.
Okay,
ladies
so
and gents, that shit was
who's in the third?
pussy on the chain wax.
So most of the fights, I mean, I didn't watch the prelims, but in the main card, I really liked the Yoel Romero. I can't think of his opponent's name off the top of my head for some reason. Do you know? I think he was Brazilian.
He was Jack. I can't think of it.
It was a really good fight, but my favorite was Yoel. Yoel lost.
He lost. Well, did you see that kick he took to the side of the head? Didn't get knocked out, but like his face was crushed up. Like it was a solid kick.
Yep. Paulo Costa.
That's what it was.
They actually won fight. They actually got fight of the night too.
It was a slugfest. It was fantastic.
It was incredible. But yeah, I would say Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis. That was really amazing.
I feel like Nate Diaz owned that fight, every aspect of it, every round.
Yeah, I mean, there were some scary moments. You know, when you...
Well, he got like into... Pettis got him into like a chokehold, which...
Oh, he got him into a guillotine at one point.
Yeah.
But luckily he slipped out of it. Both of us were... Obviously, we were cheering for Nate Diaz. Yeah. That was our big... You know, we were hoping for Nate to win. And yeah, I mean, Nate came out on top, and now
and slap.
He called. I saw him going for that every once in a while. It just kind of made me chuckle.
I love that move.
But yeah, now he called out George Masvidal, and a lot of people are talking about how, you know, it seems like Nate really matured after this fight because he was actually literally no mention of Conor McGregor this entire time. I didn't hear them talk about Conor McGregor at all.
Nope.
So Nate Diaz called out George Masvidal, and that seems like a legit fight. I would pay to watch that fight. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully they make that happen.
So I'm a sucker for a good post fight interview. I had two that I loved. I'm trying to look up this lady's name.
I'm at the point where...
Yeah, okay. Hannah Cyphers. Mm-hmm. She won the fight. I don't know if you remember watching hers. It was her going up against Esquibel.
Was that a preliminary fight?
Early prelim.
Maybe.
It was against these two girls. So like she was a pretty stocky, like shorter, just like thick looking gal.
I think I know who you're talking.
And then Hannah Cyphers was a little taller, a little skinnier, and just long arms. And like Joe Rogan, as soon as she comes out, Hannah Cyphers, he's like, this girl can fight. She's not a very good talker. She's a little shy, and all that. And he's like, but as soon as she enters the ring, you just see how calm she is, and like her composure is perfect. And then she brings the fight to her opponent. And I was like, okay. And so she wins the fight, like some great moves by her, like catching the lady's leg in the air and just starts striking her face while holding her leg away from her, and there's not much you can do besides like hop back,
right,
or just hit the ground and hope for the best. But yeah, she took like 5 punches to the face with her leg 90 degrees up in the air, and then Hannah Cyphers wins the fight, and then Joe Rogan comes in the ring to give her the post-fight interview, and he's like, I know that you're shy, and I know this is hard to talk. And like instantly, as soon as the microphone comes close to her hands start shaking, and like you see her start like looking everywhere, and like all of her composure is just garbage. It's just all out the window, and like she starts shaking, and Joe Rogan's like, "That was a solid fight. What do you think you did really well?" And she's just like, I tried to do. I was like, I looked at my friend. I'm like, did you understand one fucking thing she just said? He's like, I couldn't understand. Then Joe Rogan's like, I know this is really hard, but thank you for coming out here, Hannah. You did fantastic. She's like, oh, yeah, thank you. And then just bails, like, runs off and runs out of the octagon. I was like, that was a masterpiece. I loved that. Second, obviously, was Nate Diaz's because nobody's good enough to fight him. Everybody's shit. That's why he took 3 years off. And calls out Masvidal in the ring, or in the octagon.
Yeah, a lot of people were worried about ring rust and stuff like that, but he just proved that ring rust just isn't a thing as long as you stay in shape and as long as you stay in...
I mean, he looked like a meth addict that's been living on the streets with how skinny and lanky he was, but you know what? He came out there, he's still a beast. Can't stop Nate Diaz. It's plain and simple.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
He has an iron chin.
Love.
Whenever I watch fights, it doesn't matter. If I see a guy take a hit, there's always that moment of, oh crap, is this gonna be the one where he drops?
Like, I love when people get knocked down and like scurry up to their feet. And I can't remember which fight it was, but one guy got knocked pretty good in the face and just like fell backwards, and then like instead of like landing on his back, he like did that somersault roll too, which was totally unintentional. Like you could see because like his feet were on the ground, but his back of his head was still. So like he was folded in half, and then the guy just came right up on top of him, and it was bad. So like, you know when they get knocked and it's like an unintentional roll. It's fantastic.
What'd you think of the Stipe and DC fight?
That was solid. I think DC was rocking him the first 2-3 rounds.
Did you have a favorite beforehand? Like were you?
I was rooting for DC.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a Stipe fan.
You were a Stipe fan.
I've always been a big Stipe fan.
I guess I didn't know Stipe very well, so.
Yeah, he held the longest streak for heavyweight title defenses. Okay. So he's basically the GOAT of the heavyweight division. Like he should be the GOAT, but I don't think the UFC does a very good job of promoting him.
The heavyweights too.
Yeah.
Along with him.
Because he held the heavyweight belt for a really long time. Then DC took it from him. And now Stipe got it back, so it's kind of redemption for him.
Yeah.
So now we'll see what happens next. I don't know who his next opponent will be, but
be a good one.
Yeah, I was scared during the first round. You know, it seemed like replay of the first fight. He was hitting him hard. I mean, Stipe took some shots. Like I was just waiting for him to drop. And when DC got him to the ground, I didn't know I'm not very familiar with how good Stipe's ground game is. And then DC just seemed to have him locked down.
Dude, and then he landed those tempo punches on DC. And
yeah. Fast forward to third round, once Stipe started hitting him with those left body shots. Those left hooks to the body. I mean, I was like, okay, this fight is obviously turned around. If either DC's going to have to adjust or Stipe's going to drop him in this round. Oh, yeah. Because he kept lowering his hands, and I was just waiting for DC to come in with the fake.
And then
bam. And to my surprise, he didn't catch him with a left. He caught him with a right. So he caught him with a right, dazed him, and then just kept hitting him with rights, and then just gave him some 1-2.
Fourth round.
It was third round.
Mm-mm. They went to the fourth.
Did they go to the fourth? Oh, yeah, championship round. You're right.
They went to the
championship round.
Because he started... DC was still doing fairly decent in that third round, and then that fourth round that's when he only had it was 3 minutes into the round, and he only had one shot and one strike.
Yeah, I think if DC would have just stuck to the ground game, I think he would have had a way better chance. I don't know what he was thinking trying to strike against Stipe, because Stipe is an absolute beast when it comes to striking. He's
a madman.
I mean, you look at his record of how many stoppages he's had. It's insane. 90% of his fights have ended with him knocking somebody out. So why would you want to strike against him when you're a wrestler?
Yeah.
Granted, DC did knock him out in the first fight, but DC's a wrestler.
Yeah.
Should have wrestled. But
should have, could have, would have.
I'm happy with the outcome. I mean, I hate to see a guy...
But Nate Diaz won.
I mean... My guys won. I mean, besides Yoel, but I don't care about that weight division as much. I'm more of a heavyweight and light heavyweight guy, so my guys won. I'm happy.
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
let's get out of here. My balls are hot.
All right.
So,
Peace out. Thanks
Love
for
you.
watching.
bye. That's what it is, play.
Change your socks.
Nah.
Do it and you're cool.
Do it and you are cool.